I was going to suggest doing this podcast audio only, and then I realized that's not a unique idea. That's just a podcast.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello, welcome back to First Thoughts Podcast. I'm Simon. This is Justin.
Hey.
From the movie.
Yep.
And today we're giving our... Well, this isn't on second thought for me, actually. I've seen this twice now because somebody's busy all the time now.
I blame work.
And we're talking about Undertone, which was a new film that was, I think, just distributed. I don't think it was produced by A24. Directed by Ian Tuason, distributed by A24, and was produced on a budget of approximately $500,000. So very low budget. It's already made $15 million so far. Gosh, it's good to be a horror director.
Yeah, that seemed like the way to go.
It's starring mostly unknowns. Nina Kiri is the main character, and Adam DeMarco, and Michele Duquet, somebody. So it's mostly people that most people will never have heard of.
All right.
No offense. I mean, most of the cast was good. It's just people you don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you don't know what the movie's about, it follows these two podcasters who have this, like, paranormal-ish podcast where they listen to supposed evidence, audio only, of various supernatural happenings. And in this particular case, they get an email with 10 audio files, and they haven't listened to most of them yet, and they're going to listen to them live on the podcast and react to them, and then simultaneously things start getting a little weird. This was marketed as the quote-unquote scariest movie you'll ever hear, which I thought was a fun tagline. And this movie, it does take advantage of the fact that it's too low budget to do a whole lot visually, to do a lot with the audio. The give and take of that is it requires a lot of imagination to enjoy it. Which is fine with me as long as you land the ending, because at a certain point you're going to ask yourself, is it worth putting in all the effort? Let's find out. So, having seen it twice now, I noticed some things I didn't notice the first time, but as a first-time viewer, what did you think?
You know, as I've often said, horror's not generally my thing, but, you know, I've been seeing them recently, and...
You're welcome.
Yeah, fair enough. This was definitely an interesting take.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize the budget was so low. I did know it was horror that was, heavy on the sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what to expect there. I didn't know if that was just going to be, even creepier music right before a jump scare.
They put in so much effort into the score.
Yeah, I did figure I'd have to use some imagination.
Sure.
Not quite as much. It's interesting because I don't think it's crazy because I think the little...
This is why I wanted a second person to... I watched this by myself when it came out, the day it came out, and I texted Justin and said, okay, I need to rewatch this with you, or you need to watch it, we talk about it. It's a hard movie to pin down.
It's like the sound... The sound horror from the movie, right? I will say it made the more typical horror elements of the movie
Work
a little scarier.
A lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the rest wasn't really scary at all.
Yeah, I think... So, it's interesting because this movie... It was funny. Okay, so I frequent the theater enough. I know multiple employees in there now. I don't know if you knew that, but they do know me now. And so last week, walking out, one of the guys asked me, so what did you think? Because I was talking to him about it before. I was like, I don't know what to expect. And I told him, I don't know how to categorize it because it's not the scariest horror movie I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, but it's some of the most uncomfortable I've been watching a horror movie. And a big part of that is just how... I mean, obviously it's slow burn. There's a lot of horror movies that are slow burn, though. But just the way it's drawn out and the way it's portrayed. And also, I love using my imagination. I'm always thinking of plots better than the ones that happen. That allowed me to really kind of get in there and creep myself out. Because it really lets you. if you want to go there. But like I said, at a certain point, watching it the first time, I asked myself, am I putting in too much effort for a movie that doesn't deserve it? And then I thought the ending was good enough to warrant that. But I was curious because I told that guy I didn't really want to watch it again. And here I am having watched it a second time. And I will say it got better in some areas and worse in other areas watching it a second time. I guess that's to be expected. A horror movie isn't going to be as scary the second time because you know exactly when everything's going to happen.
Right.
I know all horror movies are subjective, whether they're scary or not, but this one more so seems more divisive than any in recent history, where people either love or hate this. Then again, you're not either party, so
I don't hate it by any stretch of the means. I wouldn't say I love it. It's a good horror film. It's better than a lot that I've seen with you, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I've seen a lot of great horror films with you.
We haven't, no. We've seen a couple good ones here or there. I mean, last year we saw Weapons and Sinners, if you can even call those. Sinners isn't really horror.
Yeah, it's a little hard with Sinners.
Weapons was, but it's also goofy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like any like legit great horror movies we saw. Some of them like that come to mind is Late Night with the Devil, you know.
Yeah. That one we liked last year. It was another kind of low budget horror one. Presence?
Oh, Presence. That wasn't horror.
That wasn't?
No, that was the one where it was just Lucy Liu's family. It wasn't really horror.
Felt like it was supposed to. Felt like it was like.
It was marketed like
horror,
it was, but it wasn't
but, yeah,
scary at all. It was just a drama. It was a family drama that happened to have a
supernatural
ghost. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any like great horror movies we've seen together. We've really missed out on that so far. Every time I'm gonna review a good horror movie, you're not there. Which is why I'm like, that's why I was like, come back a second time. We need to talk about this. Not that this is great, but I think you and I would both agree it was good. Yeah. It was solid and it was artistic. And I just love to see, for lack of a better term, because it sounds insulting, but no-name writer-directors kind of get a shot, you know, like, because it's A24, there's $500,000 budget, like, really small, and you go, I love the imagination and the execution here, because there's certain things that, like, you just, like, love how they execute it, and, like, I can't wait to see what he does with a bigger budget, because there's clearly limitations.
Right. This is essentially kind of like, finally, a solid version of that Ice Cube or Chris. Oh my gosh, what the hell's his last name?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Jurassic Park, Parks and Rec.
Pratt,
yeah. They're like one-room movies that they've done recently.
Yeah.
This is like a much better version and actually justifiable with a $500,000 budget.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, as much as it is that, it's also in the same vein as I would say like something like Blair Witch, where that's probably where it's pulling from the most, because I'm assuming you've never seen Blair Witch.
Maybe parts, but probably not.
Because that one goes as far as like it never really shows anything. Ever. It's all just your imagination, and then at the very end you kind of see something. And so it's really just banking on you just creeping yourself out and hints of things making you scared, and it worked very well. I mean, that movie was even lower budget. I think that movie cost like $10,000 or something. It was people running around with a camcorder. Great for them, you know. That became a hugely successful movie. It's I think one of, if not the most, like, the biggest return on investment in film history. It's one of them.
Wow.
Which, great for them. But this was kind of leaning into that similar vein where it's like, you just don't show a lot. You show enough that you don't feel left out. You know, like you'll have a creepy turn of the camera or something in the background happening, but it's subtle and it's like, oh, and then it's done. And it does that a bunch. And then the end is when it, like, you need, like I said, horror, I mean, all movies, but horror especially, you need the ending to land.
Yeah.
For the whole experience to be worth it, or you're just going to be like, meh. And actually, it was funny enough, sitting there, I remembered most of the movie ahead of time, but I was sitting there, I realized I didn't remember the ending. And I was like, that's probably a bad sign. And I'll admit, the ending's fine. It's good enough.
Yeah.
But it's not memorable.
Not really, no. And there's very particular reasons for that, but I guess we'll get there.
Yeah. It's funny. We probably could have just jumped into spoilers right away because we're so late, but here we are.
Hey, when did this come out? Because
A week and a half ago.
week and a half, yeah.
Yeah, when you were busy.
Listen, man.
I went by myself. And then I just didn't put out a podcast.
I had to meet that deadline, and I met that deadline with a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Now I have to go to. They just set up weekly meetings on Thursdays where we have to sit there for an hour, and if people show up to ask us questions, we have to then answer their questions live about our pile of shit.
Okay.
And then they're gonna come to me because my section's kind of really important. And they'll be like, "Hey, we'd like to use this, but like you don't have any instructions on how to use this." And I'm like, "Those are coming eventually, when I fix it."
Just trust me, it works.
Yeah.
Don't look at it. It's there.
Come back in a couple of weeks, even though in a couple of weeks we're supposed to be done.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so the movie. Because I have to wake up early tomorrow. I don't want to waste a lot of time. So, not that there's any difference on Fridays. I have to wake up early on Fridays, too, so it doesn't matter. No matter what day we do this. We should start doing this on Friday nights, so we can actually sleep in after the fact. But then you're just sacrificing Friday nights, which sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about that later. I will say, I think I heard you chuckle at one point or two. There are a couple parts that, like, it's not even a budget thing. They just say something or do something weird that cuts the tension, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There was a couple moments, like, so, this is a light spoiler, I guess, but, like, use your imagination. They're listening to audio files, and so they are doing research on hidden messages in audio, and specifically, like, children's songs, nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
And so she looks up, I think specifically, Rockabye Baby, and goes to whatever Wikipedia page or whatever it is, and it just, like, it's doing that thing where it, like, zooms in really close on things, and it's like, evil, scary,
that was
bad.
That's one of the moments I was laughing at.
And I was like, come on.
It's like a bunch of kids that like play, and then one kid like looking sad in the background, they zoom in on him, and it's like, is he demonic? Because he's out of focus now?
Right. And it's like, for the most part, this movie works great in those moments, but there's a couple of really silly moments like that, where you're just like, that's not a budget thing. That was just poorly executed.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could have, like, sure, like, Rockabye Baby, she even says early in the movie, it's a story about a baby dying.
Right.
That can be like, oh, let's misconstrue that and make it creepy. Just flashing the word evil and demonic doesn't do that for me,
Death.
I was just like, oh no.
And then zoom in a little bit on an image there on a Wikipedia page.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And they do a couple of things like that. Granted, it's just it's like 3 moments throughout the runtime that do that, but it is distracting. But overall, I would say the writing is mostly very good. There's very subtle things in there that I picked up on the second time I didn't notice the first time. Well, that's spoilers, but we'll get into it in spoilers. That's called a hook.
Yay.
Stick around, kids or adults. I don't know. Do kids watch it? I hope not. We say some fucked up shit on here.
It's adults only.
I don't know. What else can we say that's spoiler free? So the cast is unknowns. I think for the most part they're also good, which it's tough because aside from the main character, everybody else, well, and the mom, everybody else, but she barely does anything. She's just lying there. Yeah. The rest of the cast has to essentially voice act because they're all over the phone or recordings or whatever. And that's a tough position where you have to kind of overact a little bit to portray something happening, but not make it cheesy. And I do think it works most of the time. So props to the cast, even though I didn't recognize any of them, except for the main character vaguely reminds me of Jenna Ortega. Aside from that,
I can kind of see that.
I thought that the cast did mostly a really good job. There's a couple moments, like I said, but mostly a good job.
Yeah. I think the let's call them the voice acted characters.
Mm-hmm.
Their moments of horror, for the most part, weren't really scary at all to me. The more in-person horror was definitely a little creepier. I will say the ringtone that always seemed to happen, kind of try to catch you a little bit by surprise.
It didn't work at all
after tension moments.
Yeah.
it was so crazy because there's no amount of tension you can build in a scene that can't just immediately get killed by a regular ass ringtone.
Yeah.
It just they come out of nowhere so much in our regular lives. It just there's no tension with them.
Yeah, you have to do something, and I struggled with that too. That thought actually when I did my first film, This Offering, and that's why I landed on like an old timey sound, like the really shrill, like people use it for their alarm clocks now.
Yeah.
Because that sound does annoy you, and so it won't really make you jump, but it will catch you off guard better than the.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not scared
It's
now.
like a stock phone ringtone.
And it's funny because like they use it right after, earlier in the movie, like there's like audio feedback somehow that happens. That jump scare works, sort of. It makes you jump a little bit.
Yeah.
And then right after that they do the ringtone and I'm like, no. The screeching, sure, that got me. That did not.
No, that just kills all the tension there.
But yeah, no, I think it's a really solid effort. I think, like I said, it made me super uncomfortable. You know when we watch, that was the one we saw, once again, Horror Light, but Together last year, we both enjoyed that, remember? Together. Dave Franco and
yes.
Squish.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that one's Horror Light because there's very little actually horror in it. It's a little bit of body horror, a little bit of shock value, but it's Horror Light. But like, remember it had that one really good jump scare near the beginning of the movie that got both of us in the bed.
Yeah.
Great moment, and our reaction both was to laugh because that's how we react when there's a good scary moment, and then you're just like, haha, you got me, great. There's no moments in this movie like that. It's just an utter dread throughout, where it's like, normally when I walk out of a horror movie, I'm like smiling, like, haha. This one, I don't smile walking out of. I'm just like, I don't feel good. Like, I didn't, like, and it's weird to say I didn't enjoy that, because, like, I appreciated it, but it's like, I didn't have a fun time. I'm not saying I had a bad time, but I didn't have fun watching this movie either time. And in fact, like I forget if I said it in the podcast, I think I did, but like walking out of it the first time, I was like, I don't plan to watch that again.
Yeah.
But I did like it, but I don't want to watch it again, which I'm like, is that a compliment? Because if it's a horror movie, maybe, because like this movie, as much as you said they do play with some cliches, it doesn't feel as cliche when they do it right, just because it just feels so, I don't know, genuine in those moments or whatever. And so it's like, it makes you kind of buy into it a little bit more than the average horror movie seems to. So I am complimenting it on that. I think it did stuff very well. I would like to see what this director could do with a little bit, more budget. That doesn't always help in horror, but
$2 million next time.
yeah, we'll see what he can do. I mean, already got 15 million back or whatever. I don't know how much of that's going to him, unfortunately. But
yeah.
But a studio, whether it's A24 or whoever, is going to be like, hey, you did really good with your last one. Let's do something bigger, and that's going to be great. So, well, I hope it's going to be great. It's great for him to get that opportunity. So, I think I'll probably give this a 7, I think. That's what I put it on IMDb when I saw it last week or 2 weeks ago.
I was feeling a 6.5.
6.5. Yeah. It's I mean, horror is so subjective. Like I said, the consensus is like you love it or you hate it, and we're ironically not there. But I do think it's good. It's solid. They executed some things really well, and it's one of those movies like I respect it more than I enjoyed it, if that makes sense. Something like, well, I guess it's not the same at all, but like, what was the horror movie with the dog? Maybe that's not a great example, but there's a lot of movies that like I watch the craftsmanship and I'm like, that was executed well. I respect that. Don't care for it though. And this isn't quite that, because I did not enjoy it, but like liked it.
Yeah.
But I respect it more than I enjoyed it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I can get that. It is, I don't want to say often, but there is a lot that goes into making some of these movies that probably would be more interesting than a large section of some of these movies.
Sure.
Especially
like
the dog movie. Yeah, that's just, the
BTS
little
is way
behind the
better,
scenes
yeah.
was wild.
Way better than actually watching that movie.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, okay.
So I could definitely see that, especially since you actually make movies that probably
Yeah.
recognize more stuff.
Read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so 7, 6.5. It's. I'm glad you didn't say. I'm glad you didn't say just 6.
Yep.
I was doing the hands too. God
Yeah,
damn it.
I saw it.
I didn't mean it.
I know. It's just instinctual.
And I started with 7. I did. That's why I went 7 because I was talking about me, and then I was like 6, and I was like, oh no,
Nope.
oh no. Anyway.
Glad we both recognized that at the same time.
Fuck. What was I saying? We're gonna go into spoilers now. If you don't want anything spoiled, you should go check it out. Support indie, small filmmakers. I know it's A24, but this guy in particular, go support him. Check it out if that sounds interesting to you. But don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, comment, review, all of that. And check us out on TikTok because we post there sometimes. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Bye. So, one of the things I didn't even notice the first time, at the end when she's like having a little tour through the house, I didn't even notice the chairs on the ceiling the first time I watched it.
Oh, I did not notice.
Yeah. So like, because like the sink's on, which is why she goes in there. So I'm looking at that side, and then there's something on the counter. There's like flashing lights or whatever. The kitchen chairs are just on the ceiling, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing over there? Did not notice that the first time at all. And then today I was like, oh, okay. I need to watch it a third time because, so by the way, they play with your expectations by doing some cliche setups that never get paid off. Like having that mirror click open and closed. You're always expecting somebody to be behind her every time that mirror closes because that's just a horror trope.
Right.
And it never happens. But at one point she closes the closet door, which has a mirror on it, and it happens quickly. They don't pause or anything. And I was like, was there somebody standing behind in the mirror when that happens? I need to watch it again because I thought I saw it the first time, looked for it the second time, and still couldn't tell.
I swear there's constantly something.
There's a lot of,
behind
yeah.
her. There's like a little shadow, a figure.
When the light's flickering, you
it
see
never
the mom in the hallway.
fully manifests generally, but like it's there's always something seemingly.
Yeah, that first, like the nightmare sequence was when I first was like, that's when I was like, okay, this is actually scary, because that nightmare sequence is great to me, because like they build up to that death rattle noise, and so they keep using that throughout, and it's very effective, and it's just you don't quite see her, and you're like, what's happening? Oh, it's so good. I love that. Which, of course, so that ultimately, though, leads us to the payoff, which results in seeing her in a different mirror. And then she starts like walking at her backwards, because everything demonic is always backwards for some reason. I don't know why or how that started. I guess that's like the 70s thing with music being backwards, or 60s, whenever that started. I don't know how the backwards thing got started.
Are we talking the backwards audio or the backwards like walking and such?
Both, I guess.
Backwards audio, I feel like that's just like people searching for shit back in the 60s and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
just
records.
a demonic craze thing.
So I put the record on wrong, and I heard a message.
Yeah, I don't know. Paul is a dead man. Stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, and so then she sees the reflection, she turns, she screams, and then it finishes on audio only. And that is an okay payoff. That's as simple as I can put it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's effective, but it's not great. It's clearly not memorable because I forgot about it a week and a half later. But it fits the movie. It wasn't a letdown to make me have a bad taste in my mouth about the movie. No. I just didn't care either. I was just like, okay, that's fine.
I think we saw enough of it, of how the ending was clearly going to go, to be somewhat satisfied as we leave.
Yeah.
But it probably would have been a lot creepier had we gone all the way there. Because that was generally the creepiest part.
If it was executed right. Yeah. Which either they knew they couldn't, or they were smart enough to just avoid it altogether. Because like we always say, the ending, if the ending's bad, the whole movie's bad with horror. Yeah. So they just went, we can't do anything big. I mean, there's no real major effects in this. Like, you've got, like, some practical effects with lights. You've got some really minor CGI happening, but nothing major. It's all really, really trimmed down and basic. And so it's like, how then would you really make that ending big and a spectacle and have this demonic possessed person attack you backwards? Like, it's like... Yeah. It would be really tough to make that look any good. And so I think they probably made the right decision, and that's where just the budget thing comes in. And you're like, you did good for what you had. But that's something that you would hope a bigger budget would allow for a little bit bigger of a payoff. But like I said, it's a good enough payoff that the rest of the movie doesn't feel empty. Because if the payoff's bad, you just hate the whole thing. And I didn't.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't hate the whole thing. I did enjoy the ending there, especially the view of the house with all the drawings on the wall, too.
I was wondering if you would or not. Because I was watching the movie, but I was also kind of watching you to see how you were reacting to stuff, because I'd already seen it. So I was just like, because I was just guessing, trying to guess the whole time, is Justin going to like this movie or not? And I couldn't read you in that moment. I was like, because I was also going like, that's one of those things where it's like, when you hold a camera for a living and a camera starts moving, unfortunately, that's all you're going to think about. You're just like, they are doing this Steadicam very well. And then, now the camera is sideways for some reason. That's a constant theme throughout this movie, is slowly turning upside down. And I was like, is that because demons are backwards?
Of course.
Not upside down, though. I don't get that.
Well, Stranger Things was popular, so, the upside down.
I don't think that's what they're going for. Yeah. I think also it is a trope as well, and that's what we keep saying. Like, they play with some tropes, but they do tropes well enough that you don't really care. But like, the demonic voice is every other demonic voice you've ever heard. But like, the sound design's so good that I kind of liked it more. Yeah, I don't know. And it's also kind of like similar to The Ring in that like, you feel trapped having watched it, because like The Ring, it's like the whole point is if you watch it, you're going to die. This is if you listen to all 10 tapes, you're going to die and kill other people. And so it's like, it almost kind of feels like now you're a part of it, which I like. Once again, a trope, but still part of it.
Yeah, I guess a little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard how The Ring did it. Never seen The Ring, but I've heard how The Ring did it. And that one definitely feels more, purposefully, you watch this movie, now you're all fucked too.
Yeah.
This was, I don't know, I didn't walk away feeling like I was any sort of, danger for having heard the last tape.
Yeah.
Probably because mostly I'm not pregnant. That seemed to be a big part of it.
It is part of it. Also, but like, so a big defining feature of it is like, the more she hears, the more she realizes that it's reflecting her life.
Yeah.
So if you walked out and there was a sync on, then you'd be like, oh shit. Now, what made this particularly effective on me is that I related to the 9th audio file, which scared the shit out of me the first time I watched it, because I went, oh fuck. So for those of you who haven't watched it, the Jessa describes in the 9th file, which everything is very ramped up at this point, she describes in the 9th file a particularly bad situation with a demon, which, if you're thinking about practically, sounds a lot like sleep paralysis. She just said she woke up, she couldn't move, and there was a shadowy figure in the room.
Right.
Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
No.
Oh, God. When I was in college, I had it consistently, and it was awful. It's part of why I had insomnia for a while, because it just sucked.
It seems bad.
And keeping in mind, I was in school for theology. I was at a Bible school. Demonic things are talked about constantly. So when you have sleep paralysis, you just think there's demons there, because what else would you take it as? We're not practical folks.
That's what we bring the exorcism in for.
Right.
The power of Christ compels you.
And so that's the natural thing. As you read in the Bible, having demons around you, what you're supposed to do is pray and let God do it, deal with it. And so that's what I did. And the sleep paralysis demon laughed at me for doing that. That's exactly what she described in this movie. And so I'm watching this movie going, what the fuck? So that's part of why this movie was extra effective on me, I will say. Personal experience definitely had a part in that.
I'm about to check out the IMDb right now. You gotta write his credit somewhere.
Because I was just like, the whole time I'm teetering back and forth. Like I said, you just, critic hat on, going like, is this working or am I making it scary? Is it working or whatever? That was good, that line was cheesy, whatever. And then they're just like, hey, Simon, remember when this happened to you? I'm like, what the fuck? Leave me alone, maybe?
Well, yeah, I got the character this time, so they had to include you somehow.
Yeah. So actually watching it this time was the first time I saw the next 5 minutes of the movie, because when I watched the movie the first time and that happened, I was tapped out for the next 5 minutes, not paying attention. So I saw those 5 minutes for the first time. Actually, I can give my first thoughts on those particular minutes, because I was just sitting there and what the fuck? Because I was texting a friend during the movie, and just kind of giving like a live play-by-play, because I was sitting all the way in the back.
Yeah.
I was technically working. And I'm like, I had texted very recently about, I don't know if this is actually working or if I'm putting in all the work. And then that happened, and I went, hold the fuck on. This movie just completely changed. And I think I even wrote several times, I did not enjoy that. So, yeah, it's a very weird experience. It helps if you bring your own baggage, clearly. But overall, I think it's effective, even if it's not the scariest movie. It's definitely something that, if you like slow burn, that's very important. If you're into slow burn horror, your imagination scares you more than actual movies, stuff like that, this is kind of for you.
Yeah.
Like, I've probably talked about this before, but maybe not. Growing up, being the youngest child, I was often included in watching movies I was too young to watch, so I had to close my eyes during parts. For example, something like Jurassic Park, where it's just like, watch it until somebody's about to get eaten, cover your eyes. Guess what? You still hear all that shit. And the first time I finally got to watch these movies was always like, that's it? Because the sound is way scarier than the actual visual. And so this movie just banks on that idea. And so I think for somebody like me, with such a hyperactive imagination, it's extremely effective. I think for people that are more practical in their viewership, it's going to be a little bit boring. So I think there's different strokes for different folks.
No, I can see where you're coming from there. Although with the past, watching stuff, I think for me it's a little different because there was no amount of violence that I wasn't allowed to watch.
It was just sex. Yeah.
It was just sex. So I was always told, we always fast forwarded, or it was, we're gonna watch this, you get out of here, and we'll call you back.
They never did that. We would either fast forward, but most often, just to make it easier, they would skip scenes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, skip scenes, depending on the DVD, skips like 10 minutes. The sex scene ain't 10 minutes. That's like 30 seconds, a minute. And then there's just plot that we would miss. And it'd be like, what the fuck just happened? How'd we get here?
I forget where I was a few days ago or something, but there was something about like the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show.
Okay.
And it just
New? Like, or Donald Glover one?
I don't know how long Donald Glover was been around.
Yeah.
I completely forgot it existed.
Me
but
too.
like, it just brought back all the memories of being kicked out the room when they start trying to kill each other to fucking back in the day. It's like, I didn't see that for like 10 years after the first time I saw that movie.
I wasn't even allowed to, if it was like, even like really heavy making out, I wasn't allowed to watch those scenes, which in hindsight, I'm like, why? Nothing happened.
I might not have
Like,
been,
in the
I'm not
first
sure.
Iron Man movie, they literally roll on the bed, make out, and then like roll off the bed. That's the entire scene, and we still skipped it. I don't fucking get that. Anyway, what were you saying?
But yes, as for the stories in this movie, as for how scary they are, of course, the in-the-house stories, the scariest to me. Mostly because they had some visual components to them as well.
Yeah, they did do an interesting thing starting about halfway through the movie where, because they're moving around their house in the audio files, the camera will like move where they would be if it was happening in this house.
Yeah.
Oh, he's running down the stairs. Here's a staircase. Oh, now he's moving into this room to turn off the record player. So we're looking at this room. And I thought that helped a little bit.
Yeah. It definitely heightens the tension a bit. You don't have to completely imagine every single thing.
Yeah.
The mother's stuff was kind of interesting.
Her sitting up in bed was great.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
We didn't have a very vocal crowd this time, but when I saw it the first time, it was a very vocal crowd. And people would just go like, oh, shit! It was fun.
Yeah, it did feel like a moment where you're about to get attacked, but no, it's just quick little up and down.
Yeah.
But the couple on the past tapes, their story had some moments in it where it was pretty scary to me as well.
See, I thought that's what you were just saying, that it wasn't good. But you're saying there's certain parts that were?
Some parts, not a whole lot. It's not nearly as much, and like compared to like
Yeah.
a fully visual horror film
Sure.
that was pretty
It's
good.
like a
I wouldn't
podcast
think-
horror almost, ironically.
Yeah, no, it very much felt like a. Well, I mean, I guess that's the whole point of their podcast. But it
Yeah.
felt like instead of me watching a movie about them filming the podcast, it felt a lot more like I'm listening to just their podcast.
Yeah.
Which would never really terrify me in real life. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be.
You get
I've
me
seen
in the right mood, but
I've
yeah.
seen more than enough, like, serial killer murder stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's like this one guy on YouTube who has like 67 different channels where he just does
Yeah.
the talking and has scripts written for him, and he's got a bunch of them with all the various serial killers. I've listened to
Yeah.
a ton of them. They don't really have a visual component unless you want to watch him just talk, and yeah, they don't really scare me. Like, it's not really gonna do that much. So there's had
agree.
some moments from the audio from how it could parallel to the one girl's
Yeah.
the main woman's life.
And how blissfully ignorant she is, because it's done in a refreshing way where she's just very logical.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like she's an idiot, but she's blindly ignoring things by using logic and reason,
Yeah.
which helps. And so it's just like, yeah, of course the faucet turned on. It was a weird old leaky pipe or whatever.
Right.
But then it does get to a point where it's a little like knows she's being oblivious on purpose. Like the closet light turned on by itself, so she just closes the door.
Listen, that's the right reaction. Just nope.
I would have moved the fuck out.
Oh, yeah, I would. Well, I guess mother, but yeah.
I would have picked her up
Yeah.
and taken her with me.
Now here we go. It's time to
Now
get-
that wouldn't have helped because it was stemming from the mother, which it was a good misdirection, by the way, because all the Catholicism thing and you hearing her pray and stuff, you think, okay, so like the prayer is what's keeping her alive,
Right.
or keeping her kicking and safe.
Yeah.
And then it's like to then flip the prayer and be like, nope, that was the demon. Oh, that's good. Like, that's terrifying to me. I don't know. Have we talked about particular? Because I avoid most demon-related horror stuff. Just that's something ingrained in me from my youth that I don't fuck with demonic stuff.
Makes some sense. I wasn't allowed to do the demonic stuff either. It never really
Never
really bothered me.
A
as
lot
much.
of it's super cheesy, but when it's done in a certain way, golly, I don't like it. And that's part of why probably this movie made me so uneasy, because I thought that they did it fairly effectively with both the world building, like I said, with the prayer shit, but then also just like and the voice shit though. It's good. And you started to allude to some of the voice note stuff being good. I think the moment the voice note stuff first gets good is when she's like chanting in her sleep, like saying the backward words of like the whoever come in
It's
thing.
like come into whatever that demon's name is, but you say it backwards or
I'm not
whatever.
gonna say it, but
I couldn't even remember it if I tried.
I do. I just remembered it, but I'm not gonna.
Avalar.
No.
Aqualung.
Nope.
To heaven, to
I also love though.
road.
This is it's such a movie thing, but like she's only heard the name, but immediately knows how to spell it. I'm like, I would have spelled it so differently.
Oh yeah, no. Like when they were typing it out and there was like a Y.
Yeah, I was like,
in the
what?
first couple of letters. I'm
I
like,
thought that was an A.
what are you talking about here? I wasn't gonna be like.
Also, I didn't Google it, but they're talking about like, oh yeah, Solomon like murdered a woman, and it became a demon. I'm like, this doesn't sound biblical to me.
Was she killing people before she got murdered or something?
So she had a miscarriage. I think what it started with is the actual Solomon story where he had the two women and the one accidentally killed her baby, so then tried to take the other woman's baby. And he
Yeah.
said, all right, well, we'll cut the baby in half and give one half of the baby to each one of them. But it was a
Right.
trick just to see who was the real mother.
Yeah.
I think it started with that story and then just took a hard left.
Oh.
And so it was like, she's like really jealous because of her miscarriage or whatever, which wasn't the story. And so was just like scheming to take other people's babies or whatever. So he hung her from the city gate. And I'm like, what? That's not what happened at all. But I don't know if they made that up for this movie or that was already a mythology thing. I don't know.
I don't know. Like if she was, kidnapping or killing other people's kids, I guess, killing her publicly. That's, I don't know if it's biblical, but it's a pretty ancient thing to do. So
Sure.
I could see that. Turning
I'm not
into a
saying it didn't
demon,
happen.
that sounds very biblical.
I'm saying that didn't happen. That's also just not. It's not though. It's not biblical because the what demons are, according to the Bible, are fallen angels. They're not humans. So how could a human who dies become a demon? That's not how it works.
Listen, you're gonna die. We're all gonna become angels in the
That's
end.
not how it works. That's like Mormon shit.
I'll get my wings.
You get your own fucking planet and shit. Where did that start? That if you die, you become an angel? Because that's not biblical. at all. But who started that? Is that Catholic?
I don't think so, but maybe it might just be some old.
We get see, and that's the funny thing is when people imagine angels, they imagine how people we're going down theology lane here. So when people like you depict angels with like the glowing white outfit or whatever, that's how we're described as like getting the new clothes or whatever.
Right.
So people are envisioning that, and then for some reason saying, therefore that's an angel, and it's like, no, those are just us. That's dudes with new outfits, not angels. And then how they actually describe angels, spinning fiery wheels with millions of eyes or whatever.
Well, that's a little hard to draw. That's not very appealing to non-believers.
No.
And we are made in the image of Christ, so why can't the angels be more like us? Why can't it look like George down the street or something?
But also, because like there's multiple different descriptions of angels, and at certain points, well, there's also cherubs. And at some point, they've got, is it 6 wings? Because they've got 2 to fly,
so.
2 to cover their feet, and 2, or is it 4 wings? Are they covering multiple things? Because I know they're covering their feet. Are they covering something else? They're like, not for free.
I want to say it was 6, but I could be wrong.
Now I'm second guessing myself because 6 is like the number of man, so why would an angel have it? But I don't know. 7 wings would be impractical.
She's got one's tail now.
So I don't know. It's been a minute, but anyway, I know you go to your horror movies for good theology.
Of course.
This one didn't do it right, is all I'm saying. But it is effective because just the world building is good. It is. Both in and out of the podcast. I will say, so there's some other things I didn't notice. So like very early on, one of the first things when she gets on the podcast with Justin is he goes like, hey, how's your mom? And she goes, I just want it to be over. Like and it's like, and that didn't mean much to me the first time watching it because like, of course. But then it becomes like a through line of like how she's kind of resentful of her mom. And so it's like, it's interesting to be like, oh, you got what you wished for. She's dead. And that's terrible. And I was like, oh, that's actually really effective. I didn't pick up on that. And there's a lot of things that I didn't pick up on the first time. Like, so the baby toy, the creepy ass baby toy that Jessa has for some fucking reason that she also name drops the brand of like 5 times. I'm like, is this a real thing? Because you keep saying it's Sleepy Time doll or whatever the fuck it was.
Hey, I'm sure it was.
But they keep the baby in a plastic bag to keep the moisture out. And then that's how she killed them, was with plastic bags over their heads. I'm like, did not pick up on that the first time at all. So I'm like, watching it a second time, you do pick up on a couple extra fun little things. So, good writing on that front.
Yeah. Well, I was saying before, with the various storylines of various degrees of scariness.
Yeah.
Definitely main woman's and her mother's scariest. Old people of the past, not nearly as scary, but still had its moments.
Yeah.
Justin wasn't scary at all to me.
Was he supposed to be?
I mean, I thought he was feeling some of the effects towards the end with her.
I think he was just supposed to be like, he's too far away to help.
I couldn't tell if he was in trouble too with the demon or just freaking out because they start to realize something's going on.
I think
it's a little hard to tell with him, but he was just, honestly, he was at that point he just became more distracting than anything else, realistically.
Yeah, I think he was just supposed to be an observer, a helpless observer, because I mean he's in London or wherever the hell he is. He's too far away to help.
I just figured they both heard the tape. Now they both got the demon or something.
Yeah, but he's not pregnant.
Exactly, which didn't really, I didn't really know what to think is going on with him. So I think it was just nothing.
If he was there, he would have died too, but he wasn't there, so he's like safe-ish. I don't know, because like with Jessa. Well, she didn't listen to the tape because she was the tape. I don't know. And then also, they didn't explain the connection so at the very beginning, they talk briefly about a previous episode they did, which was the red tape that then comes back and is on her TV inexplicably.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's interesting because everybody that's watched the tape a la Ring has killed themselves. What's the connection though? Where did the tape come from? What is it? And is it actually related to backwards name demon dude or girl, actually. Sounds like a dude.
Yeah. 'Cause it's always like regular layered voice, and then it just gets super deep demonic, and it's just like the very classical.
Who was the first to do that? Was that The Exorcist? Having the deep voice coming out of the little girl?
That would be my guess. But
Yeah.
I guess I could be wrong there.
Yeah, it's funny how
always
people
I can think of.
make fun of that movie now, but it is the reason every demonic trope in movies exists.
I mean, I just feel like all older movies will look kind of silly in today's comparison, but like
I
they're all
watched it
groundbreaking.
I watched it in 2019 or something, 2020, somewhere around there,
Yeah.
and I thought it was effective even then. So I don't know. I thought it was just, obviously the effects, but I thought the storytelling and acting, everything. I was just like, this is a brilliant movie. That was really effective, and I'm never watching it again. Was my reaction to it. Which I have not watched it since. I don't even own it.
I have seen probably most of the major scenes, but I have not seen the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, part of it's just how great the acting is. Because that poor girl, I mean, also so much shit went wrong on that set, but it's one of those movies that's like, was something going on? Because a lot of people got really hurt doing this.
Interesting.
Also, not related exactly, but have you heard about everything that happened on the set of The Passion?
No.
Jim Caviezel, a.k.a. Jesus, got struck by lightning multiple times.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Up on the cross, he got struck by lightning multiple times. If I was making a movie about Jesus, and my Jesus gets struck by lightning, I'm taking a break and praying. And going, what are we doing wrong? Because clearly you do not like this. Why do you not like this? What are we doing that you would change? Was it the Satan baby? Should we cut that part out?
Listen, the first time, that's just the weather. The second time, well, the saying lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, that's just a myth, all right? It's just really, really rare. The third time, God, you are angry? How can we repent? What are we fucking up here?
Yeah.
You not like this guy? You not like me? I know, Mel Gibson and all.
He also, multiple things happened to him during it. Like, he broke a rib, he dislocated his shoulder, he just got beat the fuck up.
Some of those make some sense to me. I can see people getting a little too physical with how I gotta beat him on camera.
You accidentally actually hit him with the whip.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Struck by lightning multiple times? The fuck? I assume he was pretty okay up there somehow. Like, the pole was grounding him or some shit.
I don't know.
Maybe the current just passed through him relatively harmlessly, because, my God, one time would be the end of everything for me. I look down, I got those freaking lightning burn lines on me. It's like, no, this is a career. Okay.
You know how, like, when people in movies get struck by lightning and their hair looks like they get an afro? You get struck and your hair would just go straight down.
Yes, absolutely. Silky smooth. Nip it back.
Oh, God. Is there anything else to say about this movie? It bugged the hell out of me. There's a loud-ass fucking ticking clock in the room. Granted, I know this isn't her normal podcast setup. She's just temporarily at her mom's house.
Yeah.
But, like, move the clock. You're recording audio. It's gonna sound like dog shit to having that giant clock. Sure, you can AI it out or whatever. No, just move the clock into a different room. It sounds terrible. And she puts on the headphones, all of a sudden the audio's gone. Yeah, no, for her, maybe. But no, that bugged me. Also, he's like, oh, there's two distinct voices on this waveform. I can see it right here in the audio. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've edited audio for years. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Also, you're going to trace the call. How? Are you a cop?
Oh, that was hilarious,
That
too.
made you laugh.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it the first time, but then you laughed when I thought about it. I was like, yeah.
Trace the call.
Justin, trace the call. How?
What?
I don't have that. I've got an area code. That's all I'm working on.
It's like, okay, they're in your town. All right, I got the coordinates of your entire town.
Yeah.
Bang.
That was, I
So
didn't pick up on that at all the first time, but then you laughing made me go, why'd he laugh? Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. And it's annoying because it's like right during the climax of the movie, so you have to like crawl back into being into it. Which is also why this movie is all about atmosphere. So, like, I mean, a lot of horror movies are, but this one above all because it's so audio. Also, we saw it in a smaller theater this time. When I saw it, it was in the big one, and the audio was better because it literally sounded like stuff was happening behind you. That was better. I will say also, for a movie that's mostly about the audio, the camera work does do a lot for this movie. Because not only the moving around the house we mentioned, but like, you know, early scenes when she's just listening and the camera... Oh, the one part where the camera's slowly pushing on her and she turns to look and the camera stops. Then she turns away and it goes back to pushing. Stuff like that was great. There's also a scene where she's on the phone and she is right of center. And she's at what's in focus. What's behind her is out of focus. But the camera, I think it's in post-production. I don't think they actually push the camera. But in editing, it's just zooming slowly in on the dark hallway to her right or left. And I was like, this is so effective. I'm just constantly looking at things.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing to look at, I'm looking for something.
Because they always made you feel like there was something there. And oftentimes there was some little shadow, some little lightish figure.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but there always felt like there was something in the background.
Something going on, yeah. And that's why like I paused halfway through the movie to go like, am I doing all the work? Is this movie actually scary or am I just scaring myself? And it's both, but it does a good job of laying the groundwork for you to scare yourself.
Yeah.
And like I said, then sprinkling in some moments throughout, like her sitting up in bed that just go like, okay, yep, this is good. This is scary. So yeah, I feel like we've covered everything. It's a good time. Well, no, it's not. It's a good movie. If you have any sort of coincidental shit, it makes it immediately better. And it's very creepy to me. Not as creepy to him.
I don't have as much coincidental shit this one. You know, I'm hoping for the next one.
Fucked me up, man. All right, thanks for watching, guys, or listening, however you do it. Please remember to like, share, follow, subscribe, review, rate, all of that. And once again, check us out on TikTok. We post sometimes. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Check out part 2 next Friday.